Hello wine person, welcome to the session on Alsace, where I'm going to be explaining everything what you need to know in order for you to prepare for your WSET Level 3 in Wine course and exam. And this video is part of the Thirsty and Wise study and support program for students that are preparing for WSET Level 3 in Wine course and exam. Alsace is a region which is located in northeastern corner of France. It's bordering Germany. It has a cool to moderate climate. The region focuses on single varietal wines, aromatic grape varieties like Riesling, Muscat, Pinot Gris, and Gewürztraminer. And what's very unusual for Alsace is that actually you can see the names of the label. You can see the name of the grapes on the label. There's also a little bit of production of sparkling wines, Cremant d'Alsace, and red wines made from Pinot Noir. In this video, I'm going to be explaining the climate, the grape growing, grape varieties, winemaking, and the appellation and the classification system in Alsace. So let's go. Alsace is located in northeastern corner of France, bordering Germany to the east, and on the west side, it has the most important climate moderating factor, which is the Vosges Mountains. These Vosges Mountains have a huge impact on the climate here. The Vosges Mountains protect Alsace region from any rain, wind, or cloud that is coming from the west, from the Atlantic Ocean. And this allows a long, dry growing season in Alsace, which is very important for the style of wines that are produced here. There's dry wines that are produced with highly concentrated grapes because of the ripeness, but also late harvest wines, which can be dry and sweet, and wines that are sweet that are made from noble rot grapes. In regards to grape growing, there's two kind of vineyard areas in Alsace. The first one, the best vineyards are located on slopes where you have well-drained soil, low nutrient soil, great exposure to the sun, and the vineyards are facing south-southeast, and these vineyards are more suited for the highest quality wines in Alsace from the Grand Cru appellation. On the other side, you have vineyards that are located on the plain next to the river Rhine, where you have more richer soil, cooler temperatures, because the cold weather can settle on the bottom of the slopes. And this area is more suited for the regional appellation of Alsace and Cremant d'Alsace wines. Vines trained high and versus vines trained low. So the vineyards that are on steep slopes, they are usually trained lower, meaning the grapes are going to be closer to the ground in order to benefit from the warmth of the soil. Because you have a well-drained, warm soil that can actually reflect the sunlight and heat. Versus vineyards that are located on the plains, where the frost can settle and you have cold soil, the vines are going to be trained higher above the soil, because the soil is very cold and frost can settle here. So the vines are trained higher, fruit is trained higher in order to avoid issues with frost. In this kind of climate where you have dry conditions, you don't have problems with disease pressure, organic and biodynamic practices are done. Very long growing season in Alsace enables production of different styles of wines, highly concentrated dry wines, but also sweet wines. And because the season is very long, and also because you have so many different grape varieties that ripen at different time, the harvests can be a very challenging logistic. The harvesting season can start in the mid or beginning of September and can finish by the end of the November for dry wines, and for sweet wines the harvest can finish in December. Grape varieties. There's many grape varieties that are grown in Alsace. Most of them are white, and they're divided in grape varieties that are considered noble and other grape varieties. So the four noble grape varieties are Riesling, Gewürztraminer, Pinot Gris, and Muscat. There's two types of Muscat that is grown here. One is Muscat Blanc Petit Grain, which is the highest quality Muscat with most pronounced aroma intensity. But Muscat Blanc Petit Grain it can have issues with rot, and also the fruit set is not really the best, so it can produce low yields. Because of that, most of the wines that are made from Muscat in Alsace are made from Muscat Tonnelle, which is more reliable in regards to the production of grapes. Riesling is a grape variety that is aromatic, produces wines with high acidity, medium to full body wines, low to medium alcohol. In Alsace can produce medium to full body wines. Usually the wine doesn't really age well in oak. In Alsace, I'll explain the winemaking. The wines can actually ferment in used oak barrels that are very old, and they have tartaric deposit, which allows just a slight controlled oxidation. It doesn't really allow any flavor into the wine. And all Riesling and other grape varieties can be produced in a dry and sweet style. Also, just to mention that Riesling in Alsace, it's a little bit less floral than Riesling in Germany. I assume that it's more because of this usage of this huge oak barrels that give slight controlled oxidation. Gewürztraminer and Pinot Gris are both grape varieties that have pink skin, which can also reflect into the wine, meaning the wines are going to have a little bit deeper color. Gewürztraminer and Pinot Gris can produce grapes with high sugar levels, high alcohol, full body wines. Gewürztraminer is pronounced in aromas like lychee, rose, can produce full body wines. Again, doesn't really age in oak, but can age in the bottle for a long time, and that goes for all the noble grape varieties. Pinot Gris, it is the aromas really depend on the ripeness level. In Alsace, it can produce very ripe wines with high sugar levels in the grapes that can also reflect in a dry, high alcohol wines or sweet wines. Muscat is the most aromatic grape variety. It produces wines that taste like peach, apricot, and grape, and it usually produces a light to medium wines. Other grape varieties are Pinot Blanc, Sylvaner, Auxerrois, and Pinot Noir. Pinot Blanc is a neutral grape variety, usually used for Crémant d'Alsace, produces light to medium body wines that are simple. Auxerrois is very similar to Pinot Blanc. It just has a little bit more spiciness than Pinot Blanc. Sylvaner is a grape variety that produces light to medium wines, delicately perfumed and meant for early consumption. Pinot Noir is the black grape variety used in Alsace and can be produced in simple, approachable Pinot Noirs, but there are producers that are producing a premium style of Pinot Noir that ages in oak and can age in a bottle. Winemaking. Alsace focuses on production on single varietal wines. There are blends, but they're exception and usually are more simple wines meant for early consumption. All the grape varieties, the Grand Cru, all the noble grapes that are allowed for Grand Cru wines are aromatic grape varieties, like you saw, and are usually done in protective winemaking, which means that the wines are gonna ferment either in stainless steel controlled temperature, or some of the grapes can, in the more traditional way, can be fermented and fermented in big oak barrels that are really big, very old. Some of them are 100 years old. They have a very heavy tartaric deposit of tartaric acid in the barrel, so there's no flavor that comes from these oak barrels, but there's slight controlled oxidation that leads to more development in the wine. Malactic conversion is usually blocked for these wines. Again, malactic conversion would suppress the aromatics of these grape varieties. All these wines, especially the Grand Cru wines, have a long potential for aging in the bottle, and they develop tertiary character. All the wines in Alsace can be produced in a dry, off-dry or sweet style. There's no real precise regulation for this, and this can be an issue. The wines can be also, the sweet wines can be made, the sweet wines are produced by botrytis grapes, where passerlage can be used for wines that can be dry but also medium sweet. So there is a little bit of confusion on how to detect wines that are dry and wines that are sweet, but there is a little bit clarification. I'll explain it now. So the appellation system, it's relatively simple compared to other regions in France. There's two appellations. The regional appellation is called Alsace, and the other appellation is called Alsace Grand Cru. So the Grand Cru, in the book it says 50 Grand Crus. I believe now there's 51 Grand Cru. These are individual vineyard sites. So for the next to this two appellations, because the appellation system is quite simple, there's other terminology that some producers use, like reserve personnel or special cuvée, that is not really regulated by law. There's a separate classification that can be used for Alsace appellation and Alsace Grand Cru appellation. The classification is VT, or Vendange Tardive, and SGN, which is Selection des Grands Nobles. These two classifications can be used for Alsace appellation and can be used for the Alsace Grand Cru appellation, but they need to use only the 4 noble grape varieties. Also, for Alsace regional appellation, you can use the noble grapes, and you can use the other grapes, where for the Alsace Grand Cru appellation, you need only to use the noble grape varieties. So the Vendange Tardive means late harvest. Both Vendange Tardive and Selection des Grands Nobles, they're based on the higher minimum sugar levels in the grapes that can produce. For Vendange Tardive, these wines can be actually done by passerlage, which means late harvest grapes. When you pick the grapes later, you're going to accumulate more sugar. And there is possibility for some botrytis grapes to be included here as well. Vendange Tardive wines can be made in a dry style and also in a medium sweet style, where the Selection des Grands Nobles will always have influence of noble rot. These wines are more rare, they're not produced every year, and they will always be produced in a sweet to luscious style. Wines that are made from blends of grapes, the terminology like Edelzwicker and Gentil are used, and these wines are usually simple, inexpensive wines meant for early consumption. Wine person, I hope this helps. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next session. Until then, stay thirsty and wise.